morning, primarily because, hey, come on, you know how it goes. But it's so good to be alive. Another day that God has blessed us with life, health, and strength, and that new mercy that He gave us today, it does come with requirements. It's new mercy, not free mercy. He gave you new mercy because He wanted you to do something today that you've never done before. Listen, we're going to be talking about Black is royalty. Again, I believe with all my heart there's another storm that is getting ready to come as it relates to the race war. Trust me, there's some things that are getting ready to happen that I believe is going to help define this next presidency. And I want to talk about it to you this morning. I had somewhat of a dream, vision um, about what's getting ready to happen next. And I'm just going to share that this morning. I know we're going to talk about Prince Harry and the decisions that he made to choose his wife. But this morning, I've got to deviate from that, and I've got to talk about some of the things that I believe that is getting ready to happen. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to invite somebody to share. Tell them coffee time is on. We're a little late, but we're here. Stay right there.
Uh, coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time over crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you serve it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on. Time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you serve it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
Good morning, everybody. Where are you? Huh? Where's everybody this morning? I need you to do me a favor. Help me let the world know that we are on. I can only do that with your help. Will you tag somebody? Will you invite somebody? Do y'all know how to invite and share? I know I say it every morning. Do you know how to do that? Uh, uh, invite somebody, share. All right, so um, who's on this morning? Why don't you say good morning to me so I can see who you are? That way I can acknowledge you. All right. Tanyita Stacy, good morning. Last night was on point. Thank you. I appreciate that. Star Right, good morning. Camille Mendez, Pretty Black, good morning. Tasha Lockett, good morning. Dewan McIntyre, good morning. So, Dewan, you logged in from your YouTube and your Facebook? Go D. So, um, I wanted to talk about, I was going to talk about, I really want to go through and dissect that interview that we had with Prince Harry. Ann Johnson, good morning. I want to go through dissect. There's some great stuff in there. Uh, Cedric Johnson, DJ Apostle Elect Pastor Art Bishop. There's some great stuff in that interview. Ron Oliver, good morning. That Oprah had with Prince Harry and his African queen. But I thought, you know what? Let me hold off on that and I want to remind my people, my African queens and kings, of the place that they have in the world. And I know it's not popular. I'm going to keep talking about it, primarily because uh, there is a reason we are dealing with the afflictions that we are. uh, you're late. I see that upside down mocha latte grande kept you up. It did. Listen, couldn't sleep last night. And I still got up early this morning. So I was up working this morning. I was not asleep, but it kept me up last night. Teresa Bryan, good morning. So, you know, I had somewhat of a vision, dream. It was like a dream, but the problem with the dream is I was conscious. And in that vision, in that dream, I saw basically another racial divide happening in America. And in that racial divide, it literally was one of the key things used to define the presidency. And believe it or not, from what I saw in this dream, this vision, Kamala Harris, she didn't have a lot to do with any of it. And I don't know why I had that. I don't know why that came to me. I would like to say, well, maybe God was talking to me, but I don't know. I don't know whether it was God. I don't know if it's prophetic. I really don't know. But I know what I saw and I know what I felt. It was a huge uproar. It was kind of worse than some of the ones that we've experienced in the past. It was worse than that. But it had my mind going to wondering, I wonder, do my black sisters and brothers, I wonder, do you all really know your importance in history and the importance that you carry in everyday life? That there's not a lot of things that are going to echo your greatness in this world, in this society, in this United States of America, because this place, United States of America, I do believe that the grace of God, his hand is on it in some ways, some measures, but it wasn't designed for you. So being that it's not designed for you, there's not going to be much in it for you to pull from. We're still changing. There's still a changing of the guards, changing of the tides as it relates to getting black people in power. There are a lot of people that would say, look where you are now compared to where you were, and shut up and dribble. But the reality is, until we get equality, we can't give up hope, and we can't stop fighting, and we can't stop speaking. And you cannot allow them to marginalize us and really just give us a month to celebrate Black history. I'm going to celebrate it all year long. I'm going to celebrate it every time I think about it. When I think about the goodness of Black people and all they've done for me, my soul cries out, hallelujah. Thank God for using me. And the reality is, you have to remind yourself, because there is nothing in society that reflects the greatness that we have. They've done everything that they could to hide and suppress information, to keep from us, because they know the moment we begin to think, the moment that we begin to believe in what's in us, we can overthrow everything outside of us. So I wanted to remind you this morning that you shouldn't feel bad because you're Black. Why Black people got to suffer? Why we got to go through this? Why we have to go through that? Listen, we're here now. Over 400 years of this. We have to have the power to not only survive, but we got to get out of survival mode. We got to get out of survival mode, and we've got to get into reigning mode. Survival is good when you're struggling. We are bigger than the struggle, and we have something to offer this world, and the proof of what we have to offer can be seen in the work that we've done throughout history all over the world. We built the pyramids. Please understand. Those traffic lights, the red lights that you stop at, we designed that. A Black man created that. The phone that they give Alexander Bell credit for, we did that. The Model T, the car. There was a car before the Model T that a black man designed. We did that. So when you look at our heritage, when you look at our history, you will see that we were inventors. They didn't get slaves from Africa. Come on here, somebody. Talk to me. Come on, I ain't got time to warm up. We got to go up. Come on. They didn't get slaves from Africa. They got doctors. They got lawyers. They got creators. They got dancers. They got writers. They got designers. They got engineers. And you need to understand the power of your greatness and why you are black. And I want to speak to my Christian sisters and brothers that say color doesn't matter. If color didn't matter, we'd all be the same. At some point in God's divine wisdom, color does matter because we're not the same. If color didn't matter, why is it that the world has done everything that it could to present to us a European Jesus? No, they throw stuff like color doesn't matter. They throw out stuff like, we're not supposed to be of this world. We're kingdom people. But even in being kingdom people, where is the equality for kingdom? You go to these white churches, and I love them. I love them. I love them. You go to these white churches. Grant, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna deal with your statement. I'm gonna put it on the screen in 1 second. You go to these white churches that say they believe in black people. They want black people to prosper. We are one. We are one in the spirit, and all that sounds good, or it's why you're saying it. But look at the black population in the pews. 50 to 60% of a lot of these white evangelical churches are filled with black people, but it's not reflected in leadership. Now, Grant says, you sound like Dr. Amos Wilson and Minister Farrakhan. 80% of all white Americans want blacks to excel. Let me show you where you're wrong, Grant. And thank you for joining us, my brother. But let me show you where you're wrong. There are over 7 billion people on planet Earth. Over 7 billion people on planet Earth. In America, black people make up about 17% of the U.S. population. But 85% of all prisons are filled with black people. That is not speaking for the 80% of white Americans that want black people to prosper. So you're telling me that 20% of white America controls 90% of Afro-America, African Americans, and the numbers are off. And I'm not going to say you're incorrect, but I am going to say you're incomplete. In order for you to know that 80% of white Americans wants blacks to excel, you would have to know 80% of white Americans. And I can promise you don't. It's too many. So thank you for joining us. And please understand that when I start promoting black people and reminding black people who they are, that is in no way to demonize whites or any other race. We have to remind each other of our greatness, because there is nothing in society that reflects your comment that 80% of white people want blacks to excel. And it's a harsh truth, and it is a painful reality that the majority of what's being seen is quite the opposite. Grant, I believe maybe 20% wants blacks to excel, to exceed. So black people, you have to understand, and I want my white sisters and brothers to know, whenever we are encouraging black Americans to be great and we call out these numbers, these are stats. We're not the one creating them. And when you look at the population of our Caucasian brothers and sisters, sanctuaries, business, and all the people that say they are pro-equality. We are pro-equality. You pro-equality till one of these black boys try and marry your white daughter. You're pro-equality until one of these um, until one of these black people try and run your organization. So just because the congregation or the employees are filled with black people, that doesn't mean that that organization is for black people, because it's not reflected in leadership. So there's always this unfair comparison that we have when it comes to black folk. And to be honest with you, I have white brothers and sisters, and I love them all. But the most racist and segregated place in the world is the church. How many black popes do you have? Look at the white churches that are shining, that are growing. How many black people are in leadership? Now look at how many black people are responsible for giving towards the overall work of that organization. You're going to see, I promise you, if black people are there, their money is there. And what we have to do is we have to go into these places that are segregated. We've got to confront them. We've got to look at it. And then we've got to use the influence and the power that we have to make it fair and equal for all people. Black people, you're brilliant. I'm going to say it again. You are brilliant. So Grant says retired combat veteran, and only a few times saw race incidents in 25 years. Does that count? Yes. Yes. Thank you, first of all, for your service. Thank you for what you've done for this great country. This country has a lot of problems, but I do believe it's great. In some ways, this country is terrible in others, as it relates to how this country has treated and demonized black folk. This country is terrible. But there's some great things that can be said about this country in some areas. But thank you, Grant, for your service. And I think that's the problem. So you're a retired combat veteran. Thank you for serving. And in 25 years, you've not seen but a few racial incidents. Here's the unfair comparison with that. Most times, my white Caucasian brothers and sisters can live in an environment where a whole nother environment is going on around them that they are not aware of. And let me be a little more specific. You've only seen race incidents a few times. I've seen it practically every day of my life, and I was raised to see all men, all people. I was raised in a mixed community, a mixed environment. I went to school in a mixed environment. My high school was predominantly white. I don't ever remember racial incidents while I was in school. I want to say I didn't experience it firsthand until I was about 2021, looking down the barrel of a 9mm Glock after being pulled over by the police, but from then to now, I see it every day. I see it every day. So Grant, I say to you and others, just because you don't see it and haven't experienced it doesn't mean it does not exist. For some of us, it's our reality every day. I have white brothers and sisters that I love, that I held near and dear to my heart. And this Trump administration pulled out some things in their heart that I had never seen and caused them to say some things that were extremely hurtful and harmful. And as a result of that, it's almost like when black people talk about the racial divide, white people will say, well, you know, I'm not racist because I've not seen it, or you've not experienced it, or it's not that strong because it's not your reality. But the reality is, it's our reality every day. Are you hypersensitive, my friend? No. I'm a realist. And I think it's unfair for my white brothers and sisters to try and be a voice to tell black people what they go through. And when black people talk about what they go through, then we are labeled as hypersensitive, or we're labeled as we're overreacting. No, we're not real overreacting. And this is not something that just started yesterday. This is not something that started with the Trump administration. We're dealing with 423 years of oppression in this country, in America. And despite all of the things that have been thrown at us, despite all of the things that go against us, some kind of way, let me show you the royalty. Let me show you the royalty. You can't hold us down and you can't keep us back. From slavery to civil rights, black people have always managed to bounce back. And no matter what society has done and the unfair treatment that they've given us, we've never failed to keep succeeding. Yeah, Grant, I don't believe based on what I've seen that you have any ill intent. I think there needs to be more conversations, and we can educate you on the things that we deal with every day. And every time we try to cry out and tell America, hey, we are hurting. Hey, get your foot off our neck. Hey, no, this stuff is real. There is someone who's not been exposed to it, who does not see it as often as we do, who's not experienced it, that question our experiences based on their narrative. When you look at Congress, when you look at the United States Congress, the Senate, when you look at the government nationwide, it's only 2 to 3% black people. Why is that? Why don't we see more African Americans as lawmakers, judges? Is it they're not qualified? They're there. They just don't have the complexion for protection. It's a harsh reality. And in the kingdom of God, church folk, Christendom, we don't want to address the issue, because addressing the issue, we're demonized at causing division. No, it's an observation of reality. And we can't keep worshiping together, lifting our hands, serving the same God, and not deal with what has us oppressed. Jesus came to free the oppressed. He did, and set at liberty those that are bound. So how is it, can we serve a God who promises to deliver and not talk about the areas of a bondage? And Jesus said it this way. He said, when I was in jail, y'all didn't come see me. And when I was naked, you didn't even give me clothes. When I was hungry, you didn't feed me. And the disciples said to him, when were you naked? When were you in jail? Jesus said it this way. He said, the least you've done to the least of these, you've done it unto me. So our inability to confront the racial divide, our inability to address these things shows just how far away we are. Grant says, I believe the same reason you don't see middle class whites in large numbers, we're not wealthy. Well, I see personally, now, is that a general statement, or are you saying in general we don't see, middle class white people? You may not be wealthy, but you're not depending on the government. Opportunities aren't being snatched from you. I do believe at the end of the day, the biggest color that America protects is green. America is about her money. Oh, you say in government. America is about her money. Well, you don't see. There's a lot packed in that, Grant. There's a lot packed in that. And the reality is, what platforms do we have to remind black folk that you are not the image or what America has deemed evil? Listen, America is a wicked place. When you look at our dictionaries, black is demonized. When it came down for America to describe and even introduce Jesus, they created a Jesus that looked like them. And here's the reality. If we're going to quote history, even history isn't fair. Because the Bible says that Jesus was a Jew. The disciples were Jews, Hebrews. They were dark in their complexion, but it's not reflected when America even preaches the gospel. The purest thing in America is supposed to be the gospel. And even the gospel has been tainted with images of European Americans. Thank you, brother, for acknowledging that. We have a history of wickedness. Isn't that the truth? And if there's going to be unity, we cannot unify ignoring the facts. And what a lot of white evangelicals and Christians want black people to do is stop talking about it. It's behind us. No, it's not behind us. It's still present. It's alive every day. We walk the street, the community I live in. You know how many times I've been stopped? Harassed. And I don't owe no man no explanation about where I'm going. There should be some level of dignity that we give all people just because they have a heartbeat. It's called human kindness. So what we have to do as black people is remind other black people that you are not what America is trying to make you to be. And when Obama got in office, a part of America said, woo, finally, we've crossed the bridge. We made it. Well, no, we didn't make it because he's just one man. And one man cannot control. You can't legislate love. You can't. I don't care how many laws you